Okay everybody, this is Lisa with Tilted Treats. We're back again. I am in Fusion, Autodesk Fusion 360. I am going to import in that SVG that we made in the Silhouette Design Studio software to make my extrusions. So I apologize, some of the screen won't fit in the camera view, but hopefully that won't make any difference. So we're going to insert the SVG file. And then we're just going to select it, and it's here, but it's not the right size. 15 millimeters is approximately 2 inches. We wanted this to be about a 4-inch cutter, so we're going to have to scale it up a little bit. I need to move this out of the way so I can see. So that's going to be pretty close. Then I'm just going to click OK. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is really zoom in here. So that we can easily grab our layers. We don't need to see the whole entire cutter at this point. We just need to be able to make these selections. It's really difficult to do if you're zoomed far away. So if you remember, this middle line was the line that was actually initially our cutter, and we made the two offsets that were going to end up being the cutting edge. The extruder makes an inside wall and an outside wall, and again the extrusion head was 0.4, so that's why we made these 0.4 millimeters, so that there wouldn't be a gap, that they would be together. So I'm actually going to select the two of these. And because this is a continuous line, it's going to be selected all around the cookie cutter. I don't have to worry about that at all. I can say zoomed in where we can see these. So I'm going to go up to create. Whoops, I lost my selections. Create and extrude. And I want this to extrude. Let me move this over here so you guys can see it a little better. I want this to extrude 16 millimeters. And it's going to create a new body because we don't have any bodies created, so that's fine. So one thing that Fusion 360 does, which is just kind of a weird thing, is once you create a body, it hides your sketch. So I just have to go back and turn the light bulb back on so that I can see my next steps. So my next step is to choose those reinforcement offsets that we created, and I'm going to extrude those. Now I don't want this to be a new body. It could be, and I could go back and join it, but it's just an extra step, so I'm going to choose to join it here. And I want to extrude that 8 millimeters. And because it has all these calculations to do when it's actually making the extrusions, it can take a couple seconds, so don't think that you're doing something wrong. So now next I'm making my outside edges, which is going to be the top part of the cookie cutter that we actually push down on. So I'm going to select those, extrude those. I don't want those to be very thick. Again, I want to join those, and so I'm going to use 2 millimeters. Wait for the OK. And now that that's done, you can kind of see what is going on here. So this is going to be the cutting edge of the cookie cutter, and this is going to be that reinforcement area, so it's going to be thicker at the base. I just find that that gives it some extra stability. And then this is going to be that last outside area that's just going to give us a slightly thicker handle. So now that I have this, I want to export it to an STL file, which is what the 3D printer understands and the slicer program understands. We're not quite done with this yet. So in order to do that, I have to make that to a component, which is really simple. I just create components from bodies. And then once I have a component, I do a right mouse click and save as an STL. So it's going to save it. I'm going to name it something. And that's it. So the next thing that I have up is Simplify 3D, which is a slicer program. Simplify is a paid slicer, but there are different free ones available. Cura, C-U-R-A, seems to be a really good one. I got this one because it had machine settings specifically to my Dremel 3D machine, which takes some of the guesswork out of it. So what I'm going to do here is import that STL file that we just did, and you see for whatever reason it sets him up. So I'm going to tell it to place the surface on the bed, and I'm going to click the surface that I want on the bed, which is that bottom. And so now you can kind of see a little better than when it was in mesh on what it's going to cut and how it's going to cut. So this is my last check. These are inch squares, so again I'm just a hair outside of the 4-inch, which is perfect. I'm going to center and arrange this so that it flaps it in the middle of the bed. Just give it another little go around to make sure that there isn't anything odd. And then I'm going to, I have my process settings, which is the settings for my machine. So I'm going to prepare to print. And it actually will show me how it's going to make the cookie cutter. I'll do that again so you guys can see it. And that seems fine to me. So I'm going to save my tool paths to my little flash drive that goes into the 3D machine, and this part is over. So I will check back in with you guys when we're at the 3D machine so that we can get ready to get that made. And again, if you guys have any questions on this process, I'm by no means an expert, but I'll be more than happy to share what information I know. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.